Yo, welcome to Training Camp, episode 1. My name is Dan Hartwig. Y'all know Maurice Clarett. We want to talk a little bit about, the purpose of training camp, and I think one of the things that's so important about this is, a lot of times you see successful people, and we all started from ground zero. We all started as kids. I think at our core, we are weak, and unless we fight for strength every single day, we're all going to revert back to what is at our core. So it's a battle, it's a fight every single day. And I think that's the thing that people need to know is the transparency about what successful people or people that are still trying to achieve success, what they fight every single day, which is the battle internally. And so training camp is about that, is how to win the battles. It's about how to win the fight of you versus you. Because, we can always try to say that we aren't where we want to be because of this person, that person, or this circumstance, or that lack of resources, or whatever it is, and we can have a victim mentality. But the reality is that if we want to go where we want to go, we have to win the battles. And so training camp is about not just being able to win the battles internally and mentally, but being able to win the battles and the choices that are going to allow us to live our very best life physically, allow us to get on the path to being prouder and more proud of ourselves. And, and so we got, not just this being a health and wellness platform, but really just to encourage people that maybe you don't know where you want to go. Maybe you believe that there's something more that's inside of you. Maybe you know that there's something more that's inside of you, but you just need encouraged and pushed. And I think through the transparency of not just Maurice, myself, my wife, Sierra Hartwig, people that battle things like anxiety or depression or things that they're trying to fight or have always fought, and maybe you didn't know, we want to bring that transparency and let you know that it doesn't matter where you're at, it's a matter of where you're going that's going to make a difference. So Maurice, I'm excited for this, man. I'm excited to be transparent with people. I'm excited for people to understand that people like ourselves fight the battle every single day. And it doesn't really matter what we have accomplished, that we still got to fight. We still have to win over the voices, in our heads. So let me start off by asking you this. What does it mean to play life like you're the underdog?
Ooh, good question. What does it mean to play life like you're the underdog? I don't know. It's kind of like the way I live now. It's like the way that I live every day. I don't know if I can answer that question directly because I just don't have nothing that naturally flows and I don't want to push it. But what naturally comes to mind is, I don't know, the way I live. Me getting up when 95% of the time I don't feel like it. Like this morning, right? I didn't feel like getting up out the bed. I didn't feel like going to the gym and working out. And I didn't feel like doing anything. But I had an internal conversation to myself and I just said, like I say all the time, like, which way do you want to set your day in motion? You know what I'm saying? Where do you want to start at? What energy do you want to consciously invite into your life? Do you want to consciously invite the loser mentality? Do you want to stay in the bed? I've been fortunate enough to be financially stable, so if I really want to stay in the bed, I can stay in the bed. But me knowing how good I feel, how fulfilled I feel once I get done working out, once I get done pushing and sweating, and overcoming and achieving something small at the top of the day, I got my ass up and I got moving. I don't know if that directly answers your question in regards to what does it feel like to live like an underdog. I'll let you answer that. But I'll just say this. But as you were talking, I do want to tell everybody. Me and Dan are neighbors. We're next door neighbors, and this is cool to me because you live around somebody or you're closely connected to somebody who lives a similar lifestyle, right? Mm-hmm. And we've been trying to do this for a while and said, hey man, a lot of our lives are built the same way foundationally. We hustle real hard, we take care of our families, very goal oriented, very driven, very focused, very alpha mentality in regards to pursuing something. Mm-hmm. And we got together and we said, hey, is there a space that we could create, or is there a platform that we create to create a community, one place for people to come and get some assistance? And when we start talking about this, it was like, man, let's be motivational, let's be encouraging, let's be honest, let's be transparent, let's be all those things. And these are just things that I was thinking as you were introing the platform, and I'll just spin it back to you. But is there a place that we can create that's honest, that's serious, that somebody says, hey man, if I'm trying to get focused, if I'm looking for a space, if I'm looking for a community, I can go to this platform where people are thinking like champions, want to be champions, want to act like champions, and wherever you're at on that ladder, this is just a place that you can tune into. All right, Dan. So tell me this, right? What does it mean for you to live life like an underdog?
To me, I think it means, you're always kind of living your life understanding that you don't have two lives. You got one life. You don't have two people. You have two voices. You have one life. And so I think in my head, I think to myself like, okay, if I'm the underdog, what that means to me is I'm trying to find the better version of myself, because at the end of the day, if you're not dead, that means that there's still more inside of you. And so I think to myself from, being an underdog, what that means is that there's the better version of me and then there's the current version of me. Mm-hmm. And the current version of me is not the best version of me. So the underdog in my mentality is like, you're never as good as what you could be. And so I think, the underdog mentality is, how do you overcome the current you to get to the new you? How do you overcome where you're currently at to become the better version of you, knowing that in order to get there, you have to be willing to, and this is the thing that a lot of people think about, is like, okay, they know they want to change, they know they want to become better, they know they want to achieve more, but understanding that it's not going to come maybe just based on just one decision.
Let me ask you this, right? So this is good. This is just a casual conversation. What gets you, say I'm Joe Blow watching this and I'm interested in Dan Hartwig, right? And I'm interested in what he's saying. Like, what puts you initially in that space to say, hey, I want to function from the underdog space? Or was it I didn't have, or just in your path to achievement and to also consciously stay there?
So I think it's a couple things. I think it's looking at other people and understanding that you can be encouraged by other people. I think there are things that allow you to get from here to there. And those four things that I always think about, that I've always been taught, is time helps you get from here to there. And you got to respect the value and the principle of time. Some stuff just takes time. Yeah. So for instance, me being 36 years old, it took me 36 years to become 36. I can't shorten that time. It takes what it takes.
It takes what it takes.
The second part of it would be the people that you hang around. So I think the people that you hang around, like with us talking to each other and us bouncing stuff off of each other, it gives us the ability to not commiserate, but to elevate. And I think that that's a big thing too. Because
break down commiserate to me. I don't even know what commiserate means. Yeah, go ahead.
Commiserate is kind of like the conversation that you have with people where you're comparing about, shit's that's not going well, and you're trying to compare.
I got you. Okay.
Let me tell you about my day. You think your day went bad. Let me tell you about my day. And then it's commiserating. It's like it's not going anywhere. It's like this endless cycle of like people just, blaming, complaining, defending, and almost trying to like compete on, that game of like spinning circles. Okay.
Gotcha.
So I think it's the time element. I think it's the people element. I think it's the resources that will help you get from here to there. The books you read. Mm-hmm. Right? The stuff that you listen to, the stuff that you put in your ears, stuff like that. And then the final thing are choices. And so if you're trying to get from here to there, you're trying to speed up that process, you have to understand that the better the choices that you make. And then here's the thing, is that nobody's putting a gun to your head telling you, you need to wake up. That's you.
Personal choice.
That's you.
Mm-hmm.
No one's telling you like what you need to eat. You have that freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Your choice. No one's deciding what you need to read. You decide that.
Yes.
And so, like, it's kind of, it's ironic, but it's true. It's like, if you don't own it, no one else is going to do it for you. And so the future is a lot more in control than some people are allowing themselves to believe. And so the moment that you believe that you have the ability to control your future more than anybody else in the world, mm-hmm. you have the most control. When you realize that, then all you got to do is figure out, okay, well then how do I own and win the battles of self?
Oh, say that last part again.
How do I own and win the battles of self? Okay. If I can own and win the battles of self.
How can I own and win? So I didn't want somebody to miss it. And win the battles of self.
If I can own and win the battles of self, what that's going to allow me to do is make better choices. If I can make better choices, that's going to shorten the time frame for my ability to get from here to there. If I can read or be around better resources, it's going to shorten the time frame for me to get from here to there. If I can be around better people and eliminate the people that might be, influencing me in the wrong direction, because we're all being influenced. How we choose to be influenced is based on the resources and the people that we hang around. So if we can put those 4 things into perspective, the time, the people, the resources, and the choices. If we want to win the battle of self, or we want to become somebody that we're not, the first thing that we got to do is we have to realize that it's on us. Nobody else.
So I'll build on top of what you're saying. I never slotted those 4 things as to how you can assist yourself in getting from point A to point B. I personally think that a lot of that stuff can begin to come in alignment when a person decides what they want. And I think when you're describing somebody, I think the inactivity, I think the engaging in distraction, I think the shitty attitude, the misery, the what you call it, commiserating. Mm-hmm. I think all of that comes from people not being clear on what they want. And I just look back in my life at different points when things weren't going my way and I wasn't clear on what I wanted. I was engaging with just people that I knew, not that I knew, I was just engaging with people who didn't have clear goals on what they wanted. And the more I decided and became clear on what I wanted, I was able to understand how to leverage my time. I was understanding how to leverage relationships and the other 2 things that you talked about. Go ahead.
So let me ask you this too. So when you're around people that aren't clear on what they want either, I think it's super easy to look at choices as irrelevant. It's like, mm-hmm. who gives a shit? Because it doesn't matter. Choices matter in the context of where you're trying to go. Mm-hmm. And so you're going to win the macro by winning the micro. And so I think I was driving the other day. I was thinking about this. There are 4 types of people that are out there. Talking about what you're talking about. There are those that have no idea what they want.
Mm-hmm. Lots.
Maybe that's somebody that's listening to this. They have no idea what they want. And so this could be a platform where it's like, well, how do we help people figure out what is it that they want? Because those people, I empathize for those people, because that was you and me, I'm sure, at some point in our life.
100%.
Where you're lost. You're lost. You don't know kind of what's the purpose, what's the mission, who cares about getting up, who cares.
How do I spend my time?
How do I spend my time?
Mm-hmm.
Who cares who I spend it with? Who cares about the resources? Who cares about the choices? So that's the first group of people. It's mm-hmm. don't know what they want. The second group of people that I think are out there is they know what they want, but they don't know how to get it. Mm-hmm. And so they don't know how to get it either because of the fact that they lack the skill, they lack the knowledge, or they lack the emotion to get past themselves. So they know what they want, but they're still fighting this whole entire thing of how do I, I'm losing the battle of self. How do I win that? How do I get past that? Because I keep hearing it's in my head, or I keep hearing it's me, but how do I win that battle? That's the second group of people. Mm-hmm. The third group of people are the people that know what they want, they know what they need to do, but they lack the self-discipline to do that.
I know a lot of people like that.
A lot of people that get stuck there.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like that.
And then there's that 4th group, and it's the smallest group. The smallest group is...
I'm in that group.
It's the smallest group of they know what they want, they know what they want, they know what they need to do, and they actually do it.
Yes.
That group is so small.
And it takes a shit ton of work.
It takes a lot more work than I think it takes more than what you give what people probably think it does.
Yes. And I'll build on that in a second. You were talking and it was something that popped through my mind. And I always look at people when you just talked about those 4 phases of people. And I promise you, I want you to edit that and get that on camera, because I think that is, I think you saying is one thing, but being able to put the visuals up and for people to screenshot something like that, I think that'll be great for them to take on. Just to identify and be aware of where they may be in the process, and that there's other steps to get to and go to. But I always think about this. I think people discourage themselves they'll look at an opportunity that they're having right now, or look at something in front of them, and they won't realize that opportunity is just preparing them for something else. But since the opportunity in front of them doesn't equal their ultimate goal, or something that they fantasize about, they won't take it as serious to develop skills. So even as we're sitting here talking, I believe this moment is preparing me for something else, right? And I think the only way you get to a different level or to that experience is to give your all at the current level. And when you give everything you have to the current level, that naturally just grows. And I don't know if it's something like a cosmic, I don't know if it's metaphysical, mm-hmm. I don't know what it is, but anything that I've immersed myself into, it's been good to me. If I've gone through the pain or the hurt of whatever it is, like something good has come out of it, and it's evolved me or brought me in front of people, right? And so, like, oftentimes, and I don't know, I'm going like off road, but I'll get back on road soon. A person's actions or their interests can't be solely tied around money. And what I mean by that is that when you're talking about people setting the goals, being happy, finding things that they're passionate about, being in alignment with who they are, they often put money as like the sole
main priority.
The main priority.
Yeah.
When there's so many things, this thing is about health and wellness. There's just things that you may be engaged in that keeps you well. There may be things that engage you that keeps you around the right people. But if your sole purpose is just the money from it, you'll sign yourself up to be a whore and be involved in people and things that you probably shouldn't be involved in. And so, I don't know. I just thought I should get that off.
Listen, but what you're talking about too, in my head, what I think about is like, so we're talking about, okay, how do people get discouraged? They get discouraged at times because they get faced with stuff that appear to challenge them. Mm-hmm. Well, like when you avoid the weakness, you avoid the strength. When you avoid the weakness, you avoid the strength that is needed to be able to fight the next battle. So it's like when you avoid things, you're creating a void. You're creating a void that is going to be filled and needed for you to be able to get past something or for you to be able to achieve that which you're trying to go after.
When you avoid, look, I tell y'all, this dude is like a fucking book, man. Listen, when you avoid the weakness, you avoid the strength.
That is needed for you to be able to get to the next level in order for you to be able to get to where you want to go. So the word avoidance, you look at avoid, when you avoid something, you're creating a void. Where is the void? So part of the reason why people get stuck and they can't get past shit is because they can't get past the thing that they have ultimately avoided their entire life. And for some people, it's them. The reason why they're not where they want to be is because they're not getting up on time. The reason why they're not where they want to be is because every single time somebody gives them constructive criticism, they turn the other way. They try to ignore it. Every single time that somebody tries to influence them in a positive way, they laugh it off. Every single time an opportunity presents itself, they say, not yet. And so what they're always doing is they're always taking what could be opportunity and they turn it into something that is deflecting where they could be or should be. And it's avoiding, this is the biggest thing, it avoids their character development. And so I think that's the biggest reason. When you look at even like your past, and you look at the development that you have had in your life, the reason why you have the level of success that you have right now is because of the fact that you became somebody that you otherwise were not over a decade ago.
100%.
You completely transformed. 100%. And so here's another one. You can either transform or you can conform. You can conform around all the people that are around you, or you can make the decision and say, I'm going to transform and I've got to be a student. And the first student that I have to be a student of is a student of myself. I have to know what void do I keep avoiding? What is the thing that I'm not willing to develop? What is the thing that I'm not willing to get past? And until you understand that you beat that battle, you filled that void, you fixed that very thing, that's what's going to start developing your character, and that's what's going to prepare you to become prepared to face the next battle.
You know, one thing my mind, as you were saying, is having the ability to avoid like the feel-good moments. I think people enjoy and desire to feel good, to vacation, to hang out, to do all the feel good stuff, and the feel good stuff becomes like what they feel they're entitled to. You know, like there's always a statement I would always say. I'm pretty sure you've heard it. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. Or it's summertime, I should live a life of leisure, or it's this season I should do that. And I just always felt like when I seen people engaging and doing stuff like that, these were things that purposely distracted these people from what they could be doing. I also think that people don't like to be held accountable. I think people don't make decisions on who they want to become, or say who they want to become.
Out of fear.
Out of fear that if I tell Dan that I want to be a pilot, and I tell you every day that I want to be a pilot, and I put it out there to you that I want to be a pilot, and we're friends and you're holding me accountable, if I don't go to read the material that it needs to be a pilot, if I don't go to the local aviation school, if I don't go to get mentored by a pilot, chances are I'll never be that guy. So most people, they talk about what they're frustrated with, but they're not clear. And I'll say this again, they're not clear on who they want to become. And I think everything comes down to when you wake up in the morning, are you clear on what you're doing, who you're trying to become, and does everything that you're doing, or the majority of things of what you're doing, does it line up to be that? And can you do that consistently over time? And can you, after you hit a goal, you shatter a goal, can you set something up that causes you to reach a little higher? Can you commit to something that basically makes you give everything to it? And I'm not saying that a person needs to go extreme like David Goggins, because that's an extreme personality, highly disciplined, highly focused individual. But there's another level, I think, inside of everybody where discipline, and so like in my brain, I have like these train tracks, right? And part of getting on those tracks is working out, exercising, hitting the heavy bag, doing something, and all of my energy somehow gets on this train track. And then I look at my meetings and I put all that energy, all that focus, all that commitment on that track. But throughout the day, you get tired, you eat, you get distracted, and then you say, man, I could have did a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I think that people just don't create that track in their brain to get on. They say, okay, let me push this train as far as I can go. Let me stay committed to whatever the goal this is. Let me, like, even the struggle, I don't even want to call it a struggle. Even when we all came together and we had an idea of let's create a community for health, wellness, and for motivation, for inspiration for people, it was a lot to get to this space. Mm-hmm. You hear where I'm coming from? Mm-hmm. And if nobody kept on pouring gasoline on it to get it to this space, you know, this could have been like a dream deferred or energy that nobody ever got. But we could also create sacrifice and create discipline within ourselves to get on here to film in front of these cameras with the hopes of helping people. And like, this is kind of like, I don't want to call it like a philanthropic journey, but I enjoy doing this because I just know I enjoy going out and talking and sharing my life with people. And doing that, you inspire people, you encourage people, but you know.
How much, let me ask you this too.
Go ahead.
You're gonna have people that are gonna say, yeah, but there are times which I really don't feel like doing it. Mm-hmm. You know, there's that line, that conversation where it's like, you know, do I want to get out of bed? Do I not want to get out of bed? Do I want to go work out? Do I not want to go work out? Do I want to make the call? Do I not want to make the call? When you don't feel like doing something, mm-hmm. Is there a conversation that you have in your own head or stuff that you say to yourself?
Yes.
What?
I don't want to be a fucking loser. And so this is harsh, but this is not directed towards anybody. I can be walking in traffic, or not walking in traffic, I can be driving in traffic, walking through a local shopping center, and I can identify just energies off of people who've given up. And I don't want to say that it doesn't directly affect me, but I say, at what point did this person give up? At what point did this person not feel like getting out of bed? At what point did this person feel like, just feel like, hey, I give up and I'm gonna just conform to what's going on right now and basically spend my life at this level?
Yeah.
And I honestly, in my head, have that conversation of not wanting to be a loser, but then another conversation that I really believe that I can achieve the things that I write down on the board. So I'm in my level of greatness, or my version of greatness in my mind of what I feel that I can achieve. And it's like a personal competition, like to set out and say, you know, I can do X in business. You know, I can buy so many properties, or I can do X with, you know, the medical spaces that we purchase. Mm-hmm. You know, all of those things, it's just like a game with me, with myself. Like, let me ask you, like, what does Dan have inside of him? You know, like, okay, you've reached to where you at.
Yeah.
You've made money. You don't need to get up and go to work and bust your ass every day. But what goal or what thing can you put out there that keeps you revved up? You know, that keeps you focused, that keeps you going. Like, those are the conversations. Like that question I just posed to you, and I'll let you clean it up after that.
Yeah.
But that's the thing that I have inside of myself. And can you hold yourself together? Can you hold your mind together long enough to achieve that and make that a thing?
Yeah. So like, the statement that I made earlier is when you avoid the weakness, or you avoid the pain, you avoid the strength that is needed. So like, what goes through my head is like man, I know that internally, I think that as we were brought into this world, we're babies, weak, could barely keep our head up. You know what I mean? When we get older, we become frail. Like, the body has limitations that the mind and heart does not. Physically, the heart, yeah, got it, okay? But the mind, you can continue to grow. Like when I'm 90 years old, I'm not going to be bench pressing 500 pounds. Okay? So I know that there are limitations that the body has. But what I also think to myself is that I have the opportunity to do one of two things: go back or move forward. And so that, I think, just plays into my head, is like, when I have the ability to make a decision, it's, am I going to become weaker or am I going to become stronger? That's the decision. And so the decision is very simple. You either revert back to weakness, which is your core, or you put in the strength and you move forward. That's all that goes into my head. Is like, you make the decision, you become stronger. You make the decision, and you don't make the decision, you become weaker. I mean, that's just what goes through my head.
Well, look, this is episode 1 of Training Camp. What is it? Like, subscribe, share, tune in, share with somebody. I tell you like this: if you need to slow down the clips with Dan, he's like a book. I tell him that all the time. He's like a book. He has so many small quotes. You know, oftentimes small quotes are better than long, drawn-out conversations. Yeah. And I hope you can tell somebody soon enough. Sierra will be joining us. We'll have a full conversation, but hopefully y'all can keep up with us on a weekly basis, and check y'all later.